Right then everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex here at GolfMagic, and today you're joining me at King's Golf in East Grinstead, one of the best golf venues in the UK. And today I'm doing an iron comparison. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm pretty excited to do a deep dive into the data between these two irons, which are the Mizuno Pro 223 against the TaylorMade P770. Mizuno Pro 223 has not been out long at all. It was just announced last week. And I thought I'd put it up against the P770s because it's a very interesting test. We've got Mizuno, a very classical, traditional brand, produce some stunning looking clubs. Then we've got the P770 and the P7 range. Still a very, very nice iron set and range, but they're a bit more commercialized coming from TaylorMade. Before I hit some shots, I'll just talk a little bit just about the difference between these two aesthetically, and then we'll see the differences in the data. In all honesty, when you're looking at the aesthetics, from an actual shaping point of view, there's not actually that much difference. The main thing we always think is, okay, what's the difference at address? And not that much. They're both a slightly different profile. You can see that perhaps the Mizuno is a little bit sleeker and the P770 may have just a slightly larger top line. But this is talking about millimeters, guys. This is not anything that's that substantial. It's just a slightly different shaping. And again, the shaping of that head, it does look like the P770, when you're looking at it from actual head on, it might look a little bit more compact. The 223 head looks a little bit larger. And that kind of does make sense, because if we then go into the specifications of these irons, the 223s are a bit more of a distance iron. So I'll put the lofts of both up on the screen for you now. You can see that the 223s are a little bit stronger. That's not a surprise at all. If you go back to the MP20s, the MMCs, these are a little bit stronger as well. So the MP20s and the Mizuno Pros maybe are pushing a little bit more distance. P770s, TaylorMade aren't really pushing that for distance at all. It's the P790s that they're saying these are the distance clubs, and they are a lot stronger lofts. What am I expecting in terms of the difference between these two? Well, honestly, I think they're going to get pretty similar results, apart from the P770s will go a little bit shorter, but it's going to be the feel. The feel is the thing that we all want to talk about today, because I think that's going to be the big difference between these two. We're going to find out today. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to look at the numbers. Let's find out what happens. So we're going to hit the 223s first. It really is a nice club, and with the shaft combo I've got in with it as well, with the NS Pro, it's pretty hard to beat, I think. P770s, I will say, just so everyone is aware, they are my current gamers, so they are a degree weaker than what the usual specification is of a P770, but I'm not going to give any sort of neutral bias because I'm actually expecting the Mizunos to feel a little bit nicer than those. We're going with the 223s first. Oh, I don't know which way I'm hitting it today. I don't know what my natural shot shape is. It usually is a draw. In my last video I just did, it went to a fade, and now, because I'm getting tired, I feel like it's going to be a draw as well. So let's keep that in there. It feels so good, it really does. That's a lot better there. I'm really happy with that height as well. So when you go onto the 225s, the height goes a little bit lower and a bit lower spin as well, what you'd expect with a distance iron. 223s is so good and a little more compact than the 225s, but we're not talking about those in this video. I left the club face open on that one. That wasn't actually too bad. Oh, it just feels so solid every time you're hitting it. So it looks like I'm hitting a fade today, which is good, but it just feels so solid. Okay, let's now move on to the P770s. You would think maybe I would get better results because they are my gamers, but I think it's going to be quite tough to beat those Mizunos. Maybe not in the actual dispersion range, but for the actual feel, it's going to be a tough one. I will say this one does look a little bit more scoreable. That one looks like a true 6-iron. That's actually maybe harder to hit. This one, almost when looking down at it, I know the lofts are different by a few degrees, but it almost looks like a 7-iron. That's good. So that's a very interesting thing instantly, but let's not talk about that. That was a really, really bad swing. That's a shame. But smashed live, that's actually done quite well for itself. Just keep it stable. That was good. You can see that spin rate going up. Spot it for you now. That's the big difference so far. Another pretty good shot there. Yeah. I'm not complaining about that at all, but again, it's that spin rate that this is a little bit higher. We're not gonna say too much about that just yet, but that's not, again, not the best in terms of me. My swing direction is all over the place today, so my sincere apologies for that. But that's a little bit left. But there is some very concise data in that. There's some different data. So I'm bringing you around to the computer and show you what I mean. It's always fun to compare two clubs, but it's even more fun when I have these type of facilities to show you guys the difference. So 5 shots each, I think, if I just have a look at that. Yeah, and there are some notable differences there. So what I said before was that the Mizunos had stronger lofts, so you would expect them to go a bit further, and that is exactly the case. If we just have a look at the averages to begin with here. So this one here is the P770. I know it says 5 iron, ignore that, it is a 6 iron, but the carry total was 191. That is the average, which I think is pretty decent. It's a shame that the one shot there, this little one here with the low spin, is going to ruin some numbers, but that's what happens when you don't hit it out the middle every single time. With 191 carry total, good, very good. Then when you go to the Mizunos with those stronger lefts, you can see instantly that's 201 yards. So 10 yards difference, which is actually quite significant. Didn't expect it to be that much based on just the lofts alone. But when you look further down into those numbers, you will see there's a reason behind that. So when you see here, I did just notice, apologies, I only hit 4 shots with the Mizunos, but makes a difference here because you can still see there's a significant difference in the spin. So the average spin rate for the P770 is 5727, whereas with the Mizunos, it's 5165. If I took out that bad strike with the P770s, it would climb up even more. So it's about 800 or so spin, which is the difference. Again, shaft can always play a factor, and I think that probably has played a factor here today. But if I actually really go into the deep end of those shafts, the NS Pro is kind of mid-launching, and the KBS is almost low launching for what I wanted. So bit of a difference there, and that's kind of expected with those stronger lofts. You'd expect some lower spin. So no problems with that. If you're looking at the smash factor, you can see I actually hit the Mizunos a lot better. You would say instantly from that, 1.45 averaging, but could that actually be down to the Mizunos being more forgiving? I think that actually could be the case here, because stronger lofts, more forgiving, you're already leaning towards the Mizuno 223s being a little bit more for kind of that all-around player. The P790s by TaylorMade off that all-around player. P770s, you're leaning towards that better player. 223s though, a good distance club, and you can see that. It's almost like in this session here, I'm hitting a 6 iron with the Mizunos, whereas with the TaylorMades, I'm hitting a 7 iron, because you're getting slightly higher height, slightly higher launch angle, and just all of that makes that it's kind of just a one club difference, but they do have the same number on them. If we look at the dispersion, so first of all, let's look at the dispersion of the P770s. You can see here, all going left, that's down to my swing direction for today being absolutely dreadful. But for 6 irons, I'm going to take that for how many balls I've hit today. I think that's all pretty decent. If I'm all aiming at a somewhat of a point, I should be getting on the green more or less every single time, if not slightly to the left. If we then went to look at the Mizuno dispersion, again, I've absolutely no idea what this is going to be. And we've got one little, that's actually quite unfortunate. We've got one here, which is a shame. But then all the other ones are actually very, very close together. So it's almost like there's not too much in between them for this data. But you can see that if I were to be recommending a club to someone right now, there is kind of 2 separate categories here. The Mizunos are more for a player who needs a bit of distance, needs a bit more forgiveness. The P770s, as a standalone club, a little less forgiving. The feel, there is a difference in the feel as well. The TaylorMades feel not as soft. Now, it's not a bad thing, but people do like really soft clubs. That's why they go to Mizuno. Mizuno have that unmistakable soft feeling, whereas TaylorMade feels a little bit more hot off the face because the whole P range is kind of a little bit hot off the face. The P790 really just goes absolutely miles. So the Mizuno is a little bit softer, is a little bit more kind of like a butter feeling club with that copper underlay. I'm not really too surprised I felt this. If I had to rate the feel out of 10 for each, I'd probably rate the Mizunos as a 10 out of 10 and then the TaylorMades as a 9 out of 10. I mean, there's a reason why I've got them in my bag. If I had to make a choice right now for me, which one I'd choose, it's actually very difficult. I know I've got the TaylorMades in my bag. I do love the Mizunos though. I really do love the feel of it. But I feel like from a consistency point of view, I'd probably go with the P770s. But it's so difficult for me. There's pros and cons for both. Let's hit a few more shots and give my final thoughts. You can probably tell, I'm really struggling to pick, from my personal opinion here, which one's the winner. I know that isn't the point of the video. The point of the video is to recommend what you guys want to hit based on what handicap level you guys are. But if I had to take an iron set, I've got no idea. Let's hit a few more. I have hit these clubs a lot more than just these 4 or 5 shots on camera. I've reviewed the 223s, hundreds of shots with them now, and with the P770s being my gamer, I've hit a lot of shots with them too. So what I'm saying isn't just out of those 4 or 5 shots, it's out of everything that I've done over the last months, years or so. It's interesting though, because everyone always thinks TaylorMade, distance, they're gonna go absolutely miles. And Mizuno is the kind of classical approach, traditional, nothing feels like a Mizuno. Both play as irons, but kind of targeting different things. You may say, oh, they're not comparable. I mean, they look very similar. So the more you know. Hitting them all at left today. Yeah, not bad. Can I tell a consistent trend though between, for this P770, it's just getting it a little bit left. So that there was an absolutely awful strike. I'm going to keep it in because it's showing. I don't think I'm going to get that with the Mizuno if I hit it out of the toe. I hit that really high and out of the toe. That's gone 170 yards, dropped about 20 yards worth of distance. I really don't think I'd get that with the Mizuno at all. I think I'd actually get an extra 10 to 15 yards or so. I don't think I can hit that one that much better. Yeah, still left. So it looks like the consistent trend for this P770 is I've hit a good shot. It's about 15 yards left. I can just get that flight just a little bit nicer on this piece, the 225s there. I can actually just, I feel like I can control it a little bit more. Oh wow, so that was a really smooth one there. I think it's gonna be pretty much bang on, but yeah, slowing that swing down just slightly to make sure it's stable. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I could have hit a shot better than that. Whew. Okay, let's give my final thoughts next to the laptop about these 2 irons. So I only hit a few shots there, but I think it's pretty clear to see the difference on this day for these 2 irons here. All pretty similar numbers there, but you can see with the P770, this one I'm just clicking on, there is a big difference when I hit it badly. I'm just consistently getting the smash factor with the Mizuno at 1.45 every single time. And it looks like I'm struggling to get that with the P770s, which again, these are my gamers, guys. So I don't really know what's going on here, but those are my gamers. But all similar numbers again, higher spin, lower spin. It's almost like a club difference. But what I think is interesting, I'll show you guys here. Dispersion of the Mizunos, bang on. I'm never going to complain about that at all. If I go back and show you the dispersion of the TaylorMades, those, they're the 2 good ones, could not really get them apart, but then when you hit a bad shot, the dispersion increases a lot. So it's actually made my decision, or just my recommendations, a lot easier for the end of this video. If you're looking for a club that offers more forgiveness, more distance, and actually just slightly nicer feel, I'd probably go for the Mizuno. The problem with the Mizuno, with these Mizuno Pro irons is they are very, very expensive. Price for you here. With the P770s being out for about a year and a half now, they're a lot cheaper. They're a lot cheaper. Although the Mizunos are probably a better all-around club, I would think. That's partly down because they are more expensive, and also because I think the P770s are a bit more of a narrower range for the people who use it. It's more down for the better players, I think, the P770s. The Mizuno 223s, I could probably recommend to someone who is in double digits for their handicap. If you're 10, 11, 12, I think they still could work for you. Whereas the P770s, I wouldn't recommend for anyone above the handicap of 10. This is obviously my opinion and my recommendation here at GolfMagic. You may find something different, and if you do, let me know down in the comments. I kind of now have to make a decision here because if I'm thinking what my iron's going to be for 2022, I still have absolutely no idea. So why don't you guys decide for me? Let me know down in the comments which irons I should have for 2022. Should I stick with the TaylorMade P770s, or should I change to the Mizuno Pro irons and see how I get on? Let me know. If you guys have enjoyed this video today, please leave a like down below and let me know what other iron comparisons you want to see with Mizuno, TaylorMade, you name it. There's a lot of exciting things coming in January 2022, so there's gonna be a lot more things I can compare to. And here at King's Golf in East Grinstead, I think I can do pretty well. If you guys are new to GolfMagic, hit the subscribe button down below to keep up to date with all our videos. And until the next one, I'll see you guys later.